wins and 300 losses. That's a nasty win rate. This guy knows how
is.
to strike hard.
And strike hard and strike fear into the hearts of the enemy just a little bit. Is that also a master? Oh my goodness, a master ogre too. Jeez.
He's just like me for real. Yeah, I love Ogre Magi. I think it's just such a perfect pairing, right? I mean, if you're playing with Parker and you're like the biggest Ogre Magi fiend in the world, it just works out perfectly.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, we've seen Ogre Magi show its ugly hits throughout history, even on some players who really like it, even when it's not really in the meta. The Bloodlust just really amps up the game in the same way that you pick a TA or Luna to try and push the tempo of the game earlier. Ogre Magi just does that as well. And I mean, Bloodlust, pretty useful for the Invoker, just getting additional auto attacks in with the Cold Snap, and even the Brewmaster, the Drunken Brawler stances, just smacking away.
This Brewmaster Gyro lane is going to be pretty lethal come level 3, in my opinion. I like, Sven might not be killable, but CM should just be food. You eat a stray homing missile with the Cinder Brew on you, there's really no escape as a Crystal Maiden, you know? You're not going to have Crystal Clone for a hot minute.
Yeah, and I think that's going to force the CM to play very far back in the lane and might leave the Sven susceptible to a ton of harass. Early rune trades out here. Looks like 3 managed to go over to the way of E-Star Bags, winning the just clicking war, and MNZ has to throw out a stun for it. But overall, small little advantage to start. I mean, Infinity, this game is pretty clear-cut for them, right? They just need to hit their very early timings, start running around, maybe Invoker, early Spirit Vessel, get things going. And boy, he has so many good Spirit Vessel Cold Snap enablers on his team.
Michael might just be dead bottom.
Yeah, he's just gonna get burned away. Jim Pop taking a lot of damage though, and he's gonna get traded out. So Sacred, with a full duration trample, gets that kill off. Look, I get it, it's first blood, but I don't know whether it's worth it, especially if you're giving the Primal Beast a little bit of space. I say that, but I mean, Tiger's just beating him back all by himself.
Yeah, he's not getting any space right now. I don't know, I think overall pretty good. You get the XP, you get the gold, you get a little bit of a reset as well. I think the worst case scenario there actually would have been Jim Park not dying. And just being 20% HP throughout the lane.
Tiger has like 6 tangles. You know all of that is going into the Jim Park protection fund, right? I mean, he's gonna be like, hey, tango, like every 20 seconds or something like that. Oh, quite a bit of pressure being put out by that trample, which is why we see this Primal Beast picked. I mean, Refraction does nothing in this lane against this duo.
No, and I wouldn't be surprised Seed Park only get 1 or maybe 1 point in Refraction, because you'd like it early to take stacks, but probably not in lane. Probably just gonna go for these side blades and melds.
Yeah, I don't know if we're in an economy where it really matters though, because Jim Park's still gonna be able to get the run down onto Michael. The Grimstroke has to be so wary of his positioning, and I think this is a byproduct of people not playing against Ogre for too long, because he can just do that.
Yeah, he can do that on a very low cooldown too. Both TA and Ogre are not confined by cooldowns in any sort of way, in which Primal Beast, you know, isn't necessarily the same. Trample, 30-second cooldown. Onslaught, 25-second cooldown. Yeah. These are long cooldown abilities.
Yeah, the Grimstroke went for Stroke of Fate level 1 as well, just to, you know, try and secure a last hit probably. So, yeah. I mean, doesn't really have any way of getting his way out of there. Even at the slightly higher levels, when you start getting Ingswell and stuff, you're going to break the situation up momentarily, but you're still going to be slowed to a crawl. Yeah. It's real tough. And yeah, I mean, Michael, I don't know whether you want to get an early boots. He's already queuing that up. Once he gets the gold for it, it's an instant buy because it's so necessary this game just to get away from that sticky, icky ignite.
And Grimstroke, he's not the fastest hero anyway, so he desperately needs those boots, because Ignite is huge slow, especially when you start leveling it up. Right, that 20% slow level 1, huge. Dude, look at all the sticks in this game. Oh my goodness. Everyone and their mother has a wand. It's
a great stick. It's a great stick game for every single lane. There isn't a single hero this game that I'm like, oh, you know, stick would be really bad here. Just constant spamming, constant spells. And maybe a sign of what's to come, right? I mean, this game, we already talked about Infinity wanting to ramp up and hit a devious timing. But at the same time, E-Star Bags can't help but feel like with their cores on the Primal Beast and the Pango, they could put up a pretty good fight and defense around these towers. For now, though, just a quiet early laning stage. Looks like Oscar just convinced that he's fine. getting some last hits, doesn't really want to put too much pressure or overextend into the Sven CM and get caught out on the tower or anything like that.
I think one big thing I'm going to be looking out for this game, Sneeze, is a stack. And I know it's kind of crazy to say that the Templar and a Sven stacks. Are you insane? Yeah, no, but it's true. I mean it. And you know, sorry,
some people have called him deranged for saying that.
Yeah, I know. It's a very hot take, but it's true.
Yeah, he's just getting controversial on the ESL stream. That's
going into these triangle areas and either preventing the stacks or even better, stealing the stacks could be incredibly important. And you have great heroes to do that. Brewmaster, Gyro, they can control an area quite well.
Absolutely. And I mean, just easy setups and rather low committal as well, right, from Infinity, because you put a trap down, you send a Forge Spirit in, you send an Ogre in, I mean, he dies, who cares? And on the flip side, E-Star backs, they have similar tools to perhaps mess with the TA, but it's a bit scarier running into traps, a potential Invoker, Tornado, Ice Wall, like we already mentioned. Because with the Primal Beast and the Pango, once you're in, you're in. And these supports, they kind of need to be within close proximity to help out. It's not as simple as just casting from afar, and they can very much be susceptible, just like we've seen Michael be in this bot side. Again, just so much harass, but top side, Demon going down to Yor there. The tag team duo of the Sven and the CM starting to run down the Primal Beast, the Brewmaster, sorry, but just narrowly gonna be enough for him to walk away. He had that one level in the Drunken Brawler and turns to Earth Form, able to scurry his way out of trouble.
Action in every single lane. Level 3 was what I was going to be looking out for in this top lane, and you know, just as they hit it, we see the kills start coming out.
Yeah. Mid lane though, looks to be rather, you know, even out. I think PP, especially on this Invoker, you know, some of the auto attack damage has just been nerfed, even though it's been turned universal, and you know there was this crazy Ghost Walk buff, but it's no longer Exalt focus in the game anymore, right? So you're losing out on that front, and Exalt doesn't even give you damage anymore, so it's a whole different thing. Oh, Michael in this bot side again, just being run down, easy kill there for Jim Park, but he's taking a lot of damage with that Inkswell and Trample. It's not enough to work through his HP bar though, and Sacred will just have to walk away again.
It's still a level 1 Inkswell. It doesn't do any damage, really. Jim Park just kind of stands his ground, recognizing that, hey, Sacred, he doesn't have the damage. The spells aren't there yet. Do as much damage as I physically can, because I'm not dying quite yet.
Radiant are scanning.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can really do in this situation. I feel like the return kill was a bit ambitious, and he had 21 charges, could have popped them to try and get an onslaught going, but he knows that once that cooldown is done and he doesn't have any additional help, it's kind of tough. You know, these supports on E-Star backs kind of feels like they'd be happy to rotate through the Twin Gates, but it feels like they've just had their hands full of these lanes so much that they can't get anything done so far.
Yeah, I think, like, maybe a little bit of a hot take. I think CM is probably one of the better position 5s to rotate through the gate, if not one of the best. Because, one, if you're laning with the Sven or, like, Lifestealer, which are super popular carries nowadays, just leave them alone. They can stand their ground in these lanes very easily. Go gank and set your pause 1 up for success. And, you know, maybe take a book out of Infinity's page and, you know, put pressure instead onto Parker instead of, you know, him getting a free game.
Yeah. I mean, for now, Parker still relatively undeterred. You're trying to contest for the 6th minute. Will find his death. Demon, nicely done, tucks himself right around the corner and avoids the vision planted down by the CM. They'll get the jump on him. Once you're in Rocket Barrage range, it's basically curtains.
Well, especially as a CM. You know, maybe if you're a Sven, you'll be fine, but CM not as lucky. Speaking of that, Sven, he's afraid still, right? Has to war cry away.
Ain't no reason to stand around and face tank that, right? Like, literally, right? No, why would you do that? Okay. 6-minute runes obviously going the way of Infinity, so they get the priority on that. It doesn't seem like PP's too concerned just yet. His first 2 earned charges, so he could get going at any time, probably keeping an eye out for any TP rotations he could make. But so far, with both his safe lane and off lane, winning pretty handily, you know, and sort of being in a good sort of position. Doesn't really have any good place to go. Will try and steal away this Wisdom Rune, but unfortunately will not make it there in time. Tiger now getting set up upon by Michael. The Primal Beast coming through as well with the onslaught, and unfortunately Tiger will go down for that attempted stealing.
Don't steal, kids. This is what happens. You get trampled.
You wouldn't steal a Wisdom Rune, but you might kill a Sven with a homing missile. Getting the setup now. It feels like PP is still a bit too far away, and Dharmago will know he's in the area because there's a Ghost Walk debuff right on top of him. Cold Snap stopping that Rolling Thunder from coming through, and Dharmago in a lot of trouble. He's just gonna get auto attack down. Last minute Tornado seals the deal. Now Michael's here to play as well, but they're just splitting straight onto MNZ. This is a level 5 Sven, and he can't provide much in the ways of damage. The tips come through. Oscar, he's on one right now. Michael's gonna get killed off as well, and the supports just have not had the time of day on E-Star backs. You get 3 heroes for the trade-off of Demon and way more charges in PP's pocket.
PP's pocket sounds like a brand.
Yeah. Get your PP's pockets at your local Walmart today.
This all comes down to, like, both teams have vision in this area, and both teams think they're the only team with vision in the area. Infinity, they just have more ultimates available. They're stronger right now. That's okay. You just can't lose heroes again like they might now.
Yeah, no split, but they're still going forward here, just understanding that their magic damage is something that E-Star backs can't deal with for now. They'll finally TP in Stinger and put the pressure out onto the Brewmaster, at least get this 1 kill. As a return, MNZ will get that last hit, and he very much needs that goal, especially with the amount of pressure he's been taking up here. Actually pops the God Strength, I guess, just to farm a little bit quicker, but yeah, I mean, already a really good situation for Infinity, right? I don't think Oscar's too sad about going down there, especially with what he traded out beforehand.
You know, since last time you and I saw an Invoker, it was played very, very slow, right? Got the nice urn, got a nice vessel, but just kind of stopped having any sort of impact. PP is TPing all around the map, making every single rotation physically possible to try and find these kills, to keep that engine revving.
Yeah, and he has all the tools and allies to make it happen. Another setup, Michael just melts. The TPing in onto Yor, but Yor needs to watch himself. Could just die. Rolling Thunder from the sidelines now. Dharmago has joined the fray, and they want to focus down this Invoker. He's been a big problem for them so far, and they want to punish him for making so many active moves. Huge one, though, and the stun, holding Dharmago in place, and they can't finish off. Meanwhile, Jim Park mops up Sacred on the Primal Beast, and now Dharmago cold snapped up. Demons join the fray, and you can't swashbuckle away from this overwhelming damage. The Rocket will find him, they grab the kill onto Yor, and finish off Dharmago to boot. This is just carnage down here in the bot side, and Infinity, they are the clear winners.
Dark Mago has died at this point one too many times. That does not feel good at all. I know he's only died twice, but that's it. Right, I don't think as a Pangolier you can afford to die anymore at this point. You're still a ways away from that Diffusal Blade. And despite doing, you know, kind of a lot that fight on the Pangolier, no one else was doing really anything. Sam throws out a Frostbite and just eats a Rocket Barrage and dies.
Yeah, I mean, a large part of why these initiations are going so poorly for E-Star backs is because the supports just don't have the levels. They can't really contribute. I mean, Michael and Yor, they've been struggling the entire laning stage. And because of that, we see as soon as they show their fights, as soon as they show up in the fights, they just get wrecked. On the flip side, you look at Tiger, he's level 7. You look at Demon, he's level 6. I mean, these between the Gyro and the Ogre, they're very much outfitted to have impact in this early stage, and they absolutely are helping their cause out.
Oh god. So it looks like Infinity, they've bought 2 smokes, and they're going to head up top through these gates, put pressure on this tier 1 tower, and I would probably like to think they're going to try to route out this Sven in their jungle. Try to scout out any potential stacks for the Sven, which actually aren't too big. I'm taking a look around the map. There aren't too many huge stacks around. You know, Sven has cleaned up 1 or 2 already, but you know, a 2 stack here and a 2 stack over in the triangle as well. You'd love to see a little bit more.
Yeah, MNZ, he is still doing very well for himself, all things considered, given the amount of attention Infinity have put towards this top side. And they'll finally take down this tier 1, bring the forces here, and especially into a split. It doesn't seem like E-Star backs are ready to fight. I think E-Star backs, they've learned their lesson, the painful way that at this stage in the game, they can't actually afford to take a full-on fight onto Infinity. They need to try and get, you know, a single hero, catch them off guard, maybe bring the numbers. For now, again, it's PP all over the place.
I don't know what's going to stop Infinity as soon as Jim Park gets this Deso, dude. He's 400 gold, not even 300 gold away.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? Infinity, they've drafted this perfectly. The setup on the mid lane into Dharmago. He has a haste rune and will be able to run away from the artillery. defensive move there. I mean, Michael was in the area to try and help him out if need be as well. Although, as we've seen in the previous engagements, I don't know how much help Michael is.
Yeah, he does have Soulbind now, so maybe a little bit of fight potential, but I really don't think E-Star backs want to take that fight quite yet.
Yeah.
Without
Especially
that defusal on
not
Pango.
even finished. Yeah, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the first bit. Your Primal is now finishing up the Blade Mail, so hitting their first timings here, E-Star backs, and immediately smoking up. They want to try and get some revenge.
It literally just as defusal comes out on that Pango, I recognize exactly what this Pango's timings are. And I think most of the Dota community understands Pango's timings now. So Infinity, they should have a good idea something's brewing.
Yeah, but holy shit. One level 4 Ignite takes half of Dark Mago's HP. That's painful stuff. This is literally, they haven't played against Ogre in far too long, right? And I think they are feeling the repercussions of why Ogre is such a strong lane support. Why Ogre is, for the longest time, thought to be this big bad bodyguard that you can't really bully his pulse 1 through. Because he just does so much work. Now setting up in the bot side, it seems like E-Star backs were expecting a move from Infinity in the mid lane, but instead they've gone towards his bot side. Sacred seems wise to some sort of shenanigans at play here, and he'll back up into the safety of his home strip area.
Oh, yeah. Supports aren't safe though. Support and support action maybe in this triangle.
Yeah.
Michael's fine.
Dong. Okay.
It's a very satisfying sound, isn't it?
It is. I feel like the only thing more satisfying is like the slices coming out from Wraith King's auto attacks. Those are real nice.
Dude, speaking of slices, you see that Psy Blade that Dark Mago just took to the head, dude? A little bit of
Dark
deny
Mago,
on the
let's
creep. That hurts.
Dude, let's just agree that Dark Mago dies to like 2 spells.
Oh,
like that's kind of
Ignite and Missile.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. He has no HP. He can't fight anymore. Nice diffusal blade, brother. You're swashbuckling to get away, and your tower's dead. I mean, he just has a royal jelly up. Sacred's in the area. Looks like E-Star backs. They want to try and start a fight, but again, 1 or 2 spells is enough to scare off the Pango, and it doesn't seem like Infinity want to keep pushing the issue. They'll be fine with what they got.
I don't know if you've taken a look at the net worth, Sneeze, but it's not looking good for Sven. I mean, it's looking fine for Sven, but it's looking really good for the TA. Is more of what I'm.
I mean, you're kind of doing the thing that Asian parents like to do, where they compare their children. You know? You're like, oh my carry got straight A's on their report. Well, it's a TA, you know. You gotta maybe your carry's good at a later stage of the game. For now, I think MNZ is doing a fine job. Okay, I'm being defensive about my child, but I mean, you know how it is. Sven, you know he does ramp up, but you put him against a TA or Luna. That's not a fair fight.
That's fair. I do think stacks once again come into play though. TA just got more stacks than the Sven, and that's the steroid, right? It may not be the bloodlust, which it is in this case, but these stacks as well. Infinity prioritize stacks a lot, and Parker will always clean those up, dude.
Yeah, I mean, literally playing for Parker, you just look at the CS numbers and they'll tell a big story already. 195 to the Sven's 100, and I mean, it's really close, right? It's not even that bad. The Sven, I think he's doing a good job in terms of keeping up. It's just that Parker's been involved in so many more kills because his team's enabled him to do so. Whereas Sven, clearly needs a bit more time. They'll just head straight into the Roche Pit, like you mentioned. Deso, nothing stopping them. Blink Dagger complete for Jim Park as well. They should be able to mop up this first Aegis real quick. Let's watch this HP drop.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yummy.
And E-Star, they can't do anything about this, right?
Nope.
Even if they wanted to, they can't do anything about this.
Circle's map coming out. Seems like PP has reason to believe there are aggressors in that immediate area, or maybe it's just the next space that they want to take up. But either way, this is very cookie-cutter TA stuff that we've come to sort of see, right, from some of these teams that really like to play these timing drafts. It's, okay, grab that first Aegis after first early game advantage, backed up by your 4 very strong early game heroes. You start running them down. The first Aegis is one timing, you get the tier 2s, you try and force bad fights from your opponents. And that's what they'll try and do now, setting up around this tier 2.
I think it was pretty much, 6-7 months ago that people really realized that first Roshan equals tier 2 tower, second Roshan equals tier 3 tower. And people then realize the faster you take the first Roche, the faster you have control of the map and these tier 2 towers.
Ooh, you're on a dangerous warding mission here and we'll pay the price for it. Manages to put down a nice lane ward, and I mean, it's a sacrifice, I guess, but I'm not really sure how much that does for you. They'll try and set out onto Jim Park, but Jim Park setting up onto you. Has the shard available and forcing the TP out from this Primal Beast will just die to the Sunstrike. Oh, PP. He's too quick with it. Not gonna let you go unscathed there. E-Star backs. You gotta wonder, I mean, I don't know whether Sacred was just there trying to clear a creep wave or anything, but a big misstep.
A huge misstep, I dare say. This is going to be another tier 2 tower. Maybe they go bottom instead, red out this Pangolier and the Sven, which it looks like they're going to try to do, cut through the triangle and go towards this tier 1, then clean up the tier 2. But dude, if they find Sven here, MNZ, if they get him, it's huge. Even bigger than the Primal Beast. But he sees the trap.
He sees the trap and somehow manages to dodge out the other trap, just runs in the other direction, but oh, runs straight into the Ogre. Here comes Jim Park for the BKB reveal though for the Sven. He pops that God Strength and will try and chop down that Ogre. First kill to start the fight. Rolling Thunder coming forward as well. Looks like Demon might be in some trouble, but they can't really go past. It's a little bit too narrow, you know, driving is hard. It's Dark Mago, clearly not of that age and doesn't have his license, and he's just gonna get auto-attack down. Jim Park with that deny on his own trap. Gets that Psyblade hit. Stylish play here coming up from the TA. You can see those 1,000 games in action right there.
It's the second time Jim Park's gotten a kill like that this game. The second time. It's not even one of those, ooh, nice little flashy moves. It's like, this is a consistent thing for Parker.
Yeah, another day in the office, nothing special, and he's setting up for more here every single time one of those traps pop. You gotta feel like the TA's on his way, and that's absolutely what's happening. Michael getting spotted out with Sacred. Jim Park's just running in here all by himself, not scared of a thing. Has that second life, but maybe needs to respect some of the magic damage coming through. Will lose the Aegis, but PP's here to back him up. Trying to TP away onto Michael. Unfortunately, the nighttime vision tucks himself right under the correct tree and gets out of dodge. So, all to consider, Infinity, they just kind of give away that Aegis for free, huh?
That's a Parker move if I've ever seen one, Sneeze. You know, we talked about how he's known for his theatrics, and that might be it right there, dude.
Yeah, Parker giveth and Parker taketh away. This guy, he gets a crazy nice TH trap deny kill, and then proceeds to run top, give away the Aegis for literally no reason. Now they'll try and square up on this tower though. Split available, all the ultimates as well. Silent stop on this Pangolier, sorry, Brewmaster. You try and focus him down, but he's just way too tanky. He's able to pop that ultimate. Now Dark Mago just has to retreat. So much damage again. This Pango is just gonna die. Bye-bye.
Jelly, maybe? No, not enough.
Burnt up, yeah. I mean, level 4 Ignite, it's just a bit too much. And Parker, no Aegis, no problem. Still on this tier 2, still will get the objective. It looks like they're running down more. They found MNZ on this Sven. He doesn't have to, he has to pop the BKB, but he's in big trouble. Trying to turn around, slice down, but the Police from Tiger, it's too much resistance. It's too much damage. And E-Star backs, they're getting wiped clean off their own side of the map.
I don't know where MNZ used his BKB, but it was just running out as Oscar was running towards him. So I think he used it in a 1v1 against Demon? That's the only thing I can think of. Why was your BKB active at that point?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe he had to, the only thing I can think about is either he popped it in a 1v1 against Demon, or maybe PP started casting some spells at him and he's like, okay, I need to BKB to even try and survive this situation. But clearly, this entire side of the map, and by entire side, I mean everywhere outside your tier 3s, is just fully controlled by Infinity now. The early shot pickup from the TA paying dividends, because every single time it pops, you're silenced, you can't do anything, and you're just slowly just getting this creeping feeling. It comes a lot faster than you expect though. The TA is right at your doorstep. They just start mowing down the last of these tier 2s. Radiance complete for the Brew. PP with that Blink Dagger. All shaping up now. A Solar Crest for the Gyro and a Lotus as well for the Ogre. They are all geared in and locked in for this timing.
Yeah. Now, Sneeze, you know me. I'm not one to point fingers, but I am going to point a little bit of a finger, and I want to get your opinion on it. I think this Sacred build's a little bit of a bait, and I might have to hold that thought as Dark Mago is just getting destroyed top. Just got 4 hit by Jim Park. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, that's the state of the game for Dark Mago now at the moment. Anytime you get popped by a trap, you're popped. Your head off. That's it. But yeah, you were saying?
Yeah, like, do you think this would not just have been a better BKB first game. I understand the Blade Mail, right? There's some uncontrollable damage. TA does a lot of it herself as well. But you're not having any impact because you're getting constantly silenced, slowed, controlled by the Brewmaster, destroyed by all the magical damage. BKB is the only item that helps you through that.
Nah, this kind of feels like a foresight, hindsight thing, but we might not have anything to really look back on by the end of this team fight because the side of Starbucks, they're just getting crushed. They finish off the Brewmaster at the start, but it still feels like Infinity. They're overwhelming. MNZ has to pop God Strength BKB just to run. And you see Sacred just stand his ground, and it kind of feels like at the end of the line there, they understand that this fight is lost, and it feels like the morale is just down. Starbucks, did you see the way they were standing around in that fight? It kind of feels like they just gave up.
It just felt like some of them just A-clicked the ground and were hoping for the best. Right? CM lets the freezing field go, and at that point, you're like, okay, it's a free kill. We've already killed the Pangolier. That's a lot of their team fight already dead. This Primal Beast is food. He does nothing at all. Blade Mail for what? Blink Dagger for what? Just, it's a rough game right now for Starbucks, and if you take a look at the win probability, 97% for Infinity. Gaben agrees.
I don't think Gaben could disagree. You'd have to sort of really turn a sort of raised eyebrow towards Gaben if he did disagree. And now running forward again, Sacred's just there. And I get your point about the Blade Mail, but I don't think that's a bad option because if you rush BKB, you just lose the game anyway. Because you don't have armor and you die to physical damage. I think it's easy to look at it now and say like, oh, Blade Mail isn't doing anything, but no item would do anything in this situation where you're this far behind. At Jin Park, he's gonna get set up upon now by Dark Mago. Nice rolling thunder, but immediately the BKB, that's a reveal from Jin Park, and Dark Mago's just dead again. I mean, it's just an easy rundown. Michael, the setup, they don't stand a chance. That's not GG's call. They're done. Yeah. There literally is nothing, and I think looking at items, looking at build-ups, it's just the early game just went catastrophic, right? And that's it. Michael and Primal Beast, they were supposed to be this tag team duo that at least puts pressure on Jin Park in the lane. You give them a first blood, you give them a whole bunch of other kills on this Grimstroke, regardless of what your Primal Beast build there.